When the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Welcome to the best soccer show. The best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis, Jared Dubois back in the building, and we are live. It is Wednesday, but we're here together.
Take this as proof of life.
We get together when we can get together. Is that how this works now in 2025?
I mean, when you got kids in multiple sports and like spring breaks and all that stuff, everything kind of just mounts up at some point.
Yeah, just to give a little snapshot. You had some stuff. You were vacationing, spring break. Last week you went to a concert. You took your kid to a concert. Yes. You told us that. Tomorrow, because of spring break for my kid right now, I'm going on a college visit for a junior in high school.
You can show him how to do cake stands.
You know what he told me and my beautiful wife tonight? He said, we were just kind of generally talking about college. He said, no drinking, no drugs, no marijuana. Like my kid's straight edge. Like
my kid's kind of there too. I mean, well, he's a freshman. I mean, he's still got time. I don't know, but his dad,
he could still be corrupted. He could still be corrupted.
Let's just say between his dad and his mom, we were different paths into our 20s. You know, like where dad was like not a drinker. First time I was ever drunk was probably 24. 25, somewhere in that range. No, 23 probably. And so just never a drinker. I was the DD and happy to be. Just no.
My best guess is 16. That's my best guess.
Of when you first time you were ever?
Yeah.
I mean, you had a very different lifestyle too. You were moving all the time, having to fit in. And I imagine the pressure to fit in some social areas probably was massive.
Yes, Dr. Rodius, I desperately wanted to be liked, and it caused me to engage in behavior that maybe was not the best for me. We can move on quickly. We can just...
Well, I like this. I put this in when you first started the show. Justin was saying he just created a new D&D character right before the show started. And I thought, what's a good D&D soccer character name? Like, it's got to be something that has like gravitas and over the top, right?
This is out of my wheelhouse. I maybe played about 5 minutes of D&D when I was 8 years old. I do not know enough to engage. I know the concept. I obviously know it's a major part of the television show Stranger Things, which we enjoyed. I know it culturally. I don't know how to engage with it.
You got to think like Lord of the Rings names, like knights and kind of like that kind of thing. Like I think the key here is taking something that is firmly grounded in soccer and combining it with something that is fantasy somewhat. So someone even like somebody like Cristiano, Nottingham Ronaldo or like so like you like or Sherwood.
I was thinking
Lionel Sherwood or something.
My brain is going to. I talked a lot about Real Madrid today on the day job. You know about the show I do, right?
WNBC.
I have a radio.
You still have that?
I still do. Today I did it with Tyler Terrence, who you might hear on Apple TV Plus, calling soccer games in MLS, and Champions League day. So Real Madrid was in the news. And their president is Florentino Perez. So Florentino sounds like a good first name. So we have Florentino.
Yes.
I went to Beckham.
Shakespearean.
Real Madrid. Florentino Beckhamshire.
Beckhamshire.
Yeah. That's not bad, right?
I like this from Nate Osika in the chat. This is literally just a regular name that sounds fantastic. Yeah. Darlington Nagby is a pretty damn good soccer D&D name.
It's pretty good. Yeah. Okay. So maybe keep those coming in the chat. Thank you, by the way, besties, for hanging out. If you want to join up and be part of the community over on the Slack, or maybe get a dose of Jason almost every day. Didn't want to do it today. Got a little busy, but
the Daily Davis is going on.
The Daily Davis is happening over there. Look, people
Who
got
coined
time
that,
on
by
their
the
hands.
way? It was one of the listeners that coined that.
Yeah, it was one of our besties, Ben from Canada, our Vancouver Whitecaps, our resident Vancouver Whitecaps fan. Jumped in the Slack and called it the Daily Davis. I was like, that's a great name for it. So if you like a little bit of thoughts from coming from my brain, it could be on anything. I talked about the schedule change that didn't happen last week. Obviously, I also wrote about that on a newsletter. I got too much time on my hands, like I said, too much energy. If you want to join us though, patreon.com/the best soccer show, or just go type in the best soccer show in Patreon and you'll be able to find it. And you can jump in and be part of this thing that we're doing. The community still goes, right? We may not always be together. When we are, it is beautiful. It is magic. We make magic together. I think that is absolutely undeniable.
I can't stop thinking about the D&D thing. Sharing, like Teddy Sheringham is like there's the Sheringham.
Okay.
That's got like a good thing to it right there as well.
Okay.
Man.
What about Wilson Odebert? What about that? Does that sound like
the
a name?
Odebert is badass. The Wilson, that's too basic.
You don't think that's too basic? But I think okay.
Wilson, literally that's a volleyball to me.
That's true. Okay, I guess so. So we need something to go with Odebert. His name is Wilson Odebert. I thought that maybe just that would fly like Darlington Nagby, but you're saying no. You're giving me
or like Odebert of Aragon or something like that. Like it's got to be like I don't know. It's got to have like almost like a place or something. I don't know.
I see. Yeah, you do have.
Justin says that his class sounds like a ranger.
You do have Zlatan. Not Ibrahimovic. That's a little bit too. Can I say ethnic or is that insensitive in 2000? Zlatan Odegaard. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. I can see that.
Odegaard, that's pretty
these
badass.
Are all, like you made it about D&D, and maybe that's just a touch too nerdy for your boy over here who was drinking.
I've always wanted to play D&D, and I never have. I've never had a person to get me into it, but I've always my kids are wanted to play it too. So
okay, all right. Well, I was going to say,
find a good dungeon master, man.
I am nerd enough to have read many a fantasy novel when I was a kid. I'm more a sci-fi guy. I lean more sci-fi than fantasy, but I can be brought in. And I remember there was this series that brought together sort of fantasy and sci-fi called The Dragon Riders of Pern. Do you know about this one, Jared? Do you know about this series? Dragon Riders of Pern, P-E-R-N, I think is what it was.
No.
This is my memory might be
dragon fantasy, dude. Like it's too far down the fantasy line for me.
But this is what happens. Like this is the marriage of two worlds. It's a sci-fi beginning where human beings are colonizing a planet and they're trying to terraform this planet, but this planet has this thing that happens every now and then where stuff falls from the sky and kills people. I don't remember I don't remember the science behind it, but there's also dragons on this planet that can be trained to destroy this stuff that falls from the sky that kills everybody. So then a culture grows around the dragons, and now we've kind of got almost a medieval dragon type of thing happening on a planet that was colonized. All right, whatever. It's still fun. Just don't be a buzzkill. Come on. What are you talking about?
Yeah, maybe if we do a bonus, I'll tell you some stuff I've been reading lately. But yeah. Oh, just saying that there's a D&D. I didn't even know there was a D&D sub in the Slack. Yeah.
No, not Dune, David. Not Dune. Dune is different. Whatever. We don't have time to get into
anything about worms.
No worms. Those aren't dragons. Those are worms. All right, we're here to talk about soccer, nominally speaking, and I do think we have some things to get into. Do you want to start with the prodigal son of American soccer, the player that has maybe more frustrated American soccer fans than anybody since Freddie Adu? In fact, I would argue that Freddie was all hype, and there was some substance.
There was very little controversy around Freddie Adu. It was just more like, would he pan out?
That's fair, right? It was a lot of like build up at a time when we didn't know any better. Now we think we know better, right? We've had players rise to pretty high levels. We've had guys go and play in the Champions League. Christian Pulisic preceded this player at the same club where this player has been attempting to make his career go. It is, of course, Gio Reyna. And now you said to me, I was like, what are we going to talk about tonight, Rodius? Like, what do we got going on? And he's like, Gio Reyna on the move, right? That was your...
and from the rumors are that he's been told that he's free to find new accommodations in the summertime.
Now, so I went diving in. I'd heard this too, but I went diving in trying to find the thread, right? Could look back and see. Now, as far as I can tell, this originates with Build. Now, I could not find the original Build.
Build. Excuse me. I think it said Bill, like some dude named Bill.
No, Build, the sports magazine.
Build.
Well, I guess there's two versions.
Put a hard D on that.
Build. There's two versions of Build. I'm not a German football transfer rumor expert, right? I'm not a German football news expert. But there's sport Build and there's Build. And I can't remember which one is the trustworthy one. One of them, despite the name being shared, only one of them is actually trustworthy. So I can't remember which one it is. Maybe
it's
people
like JFK versus RFK Jr.
That's exactly what it is. Well, kind of, yeah.
Like the name makes you feel like you should trust it.
If it says Kennedy on the
Kennedy,
tin,
yeah, in general, yeah, it's like
you're supposed to be like, that's my guy. That's a Kennedy. I got that guy. Yeah, okay. So I could not track down the original.
You could go to the moon. You could get polio.
You could go to the moon and get polio. I don't know.
That's the dream.
All right. So I for the people watching us tonight on YouTube, and by the way, if you're listening to the podcast later, the show is live often, usually on Thursdays, tonight on Wednesday. This, as far as I can tell, is the origin of the story in English. It says Reyna told to leave Dortmund, USMNT star can be reborn at this Premier League club. Now,
And this is the Bild article?
No, this is from some footballtransfers.com. All right.
Okay.
So it references Bild, but then goes on to spin this into here are the Premier League teams he could play for. One of them is Bournemouth. One of them, I mean, it's whatever. I don't even care about that part. First of all, that is an AI looking ass writer if I've ever seen one. Does that not look like AI created that profile image?
What's the prompt for a soccer writer picture? Got to be self-loathing, too much caffeine, very small budget. What else goes into that?
Yeah, you don't wear nice clothes because you can't afford
white
that. No,
dudes for sure. Maybe
this guy really exists. Maybe Robin Boehner is what it says on the byline. Maybe he really exists, and I'm being unfair to Robin Boehner. But we got a big picture of Gio wearing a Borussia Dortmund jacket. And again, it's at the subhead. This is the subhead, not the article. The subhead reads, Gio Reyna's Borussia Dortmund career is over. That's pretty declarative. Like, there's no equivocation there. It's just like, boom, it's over. And then it says the USMNT star has been, first of all, that part is a stretch. The USMNT star has been told to find himself a new club this summer.
Stretch?
He's not a star. He's not a star for club nor country. Like, I'm not putting him on star level for the national team. Are you really?
Really? You don't think if you were making a mock-up, a one sheet to advertise the World Cup for U.S. soccer fans, well, you had to put 3 players on it. What 3 players are you putting?
Did I say anything about marketing? Who said anything about marketing?
That's just talking about reality. Star is, dude.
A star is somebody who performs well enough to merit that kind of placement. If there was a marquee and I had to put player names on it to sell the U.S. men's national team, I'm not putting Gio Reyna on it. I'm putting Christian Pulisic on it. I'm putting Wes Kenny on it.
Sound right now? Do you even know what an influencer is? They're people with no talent but tons of followers.
I understand. I understand what that is. And I actually do think there's talent in making yourself incredibly successful without actually having talent. Somehow that's a weird inverse thing. Now we're catch 22 here, but I do think that's a thing. Gio Reyna, what is he except a myth? What is he except a legend? What is he except an idea that has not yet
what he is one of the
fruit?
I would argue that he probably has one of the best goal participation per minute averages of any U.S. national team pool player right now.
Does that make him a star? It doesn't matter. Let's not get bogged down in detail.
Well, who's the bigger star, Gio Reyna or Diego Luna?
Gio Reyna, but neither one of them. What's the weakest level of star? White dwarf? I have no idea. Whatever the weakest level of star is.
Red dwarf. Well, actually, I think what our star is right now is probably the weakest level because then it turns into a red dwarf at some point. I guess it's weakening as he gets older, though. Huh? Okay.
All right. Anyway, this story goes again. This story says that the season's been a write-off. He's only played 568 minutes of football across 22 appearances. Looks like apparently Dortmund is in for Ryan Cherki from Olympique Lyonnais, who is a very good player.
This is a good thing, right? This is a good thing.
That they're kicking him out the door and saying, go find a new place to play. It's fine. If this is one of those deals where only one party wants the divorce and the other one doesn't know that it would actually be good for them to get the divorce done. Because look, if one person wants to break up, you break up. You can't have this like, well, I don't want to break up and you do. So I guess
that's where stalkers come from, but that's not healthy.
Well, no, I'm talking about normal relationships. Gotcha. I'm talking about, the ones that are like,
damn, dog, that's in a pro.
Actually, not even functional, just like adult relationships. You can't have a relationship if even one party wants to break up. And clearly Dortmund.
By the way, Chris in the chat saying Diego Luna is the better player between him and Gio Reyna.
That is one of those. It's arguable. More. It's arguable because he's delivering more because he plays more. Whether he's more talented is a different question. Better player? Yeah, I think he might be right. I think that's defensible. Wow. There's a better player. Because you can't.
Why isn't he at Dortmund? Why isn't he at Dortmund then?
When Gio Reyna does play for Dortmund, he's not any good.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Why wasn't he at the Olympics then?
Why wasn't Diego Luna at the Olympics? Because the federation is corrupt. That's why.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's it.
I forgot to check my conspiracy website today.
You didn't check what are we calling it?
Well, I always told you that I thought my favorite website that never got made was Major League Stalker. Like that still needs to be a website of some kind that's doing something shady.
The Overton window has moved past that. We can't even really do any of those things anymore. I mean, the offside rules is probably not doable in 2025, much to the chagrin of all the old heads out there. I would say that. All right.
But
So
listen, for me, this is a good thing. Gio Reyna needs a move. And I believe it hasn't he dumped the agent that he had that did the Nottingham Forest move. Hasn't he moved away from that agent now? What's the gentleman's name?
He did. That was the Portuguese agent, the super agent who I can't remember his name right now. Does not matter. He's moved on. This is transfermarket.us on their Instagram. And it says rumor. It doesn't say it's certain he's leaving Dortmund. It just references again Bild. According to Bild, Borussia Dortmund will not count on Gio Reyna for the next season and has informed the player to look for a new club. So I guess my question is, what are his options? Like when Gio Reyna goes to what are they using, Bumble these days? When he goes to Football Bumble, what is he seeing? Who's matching with Gio Reyna at this point?
I think it's varying sevens. I don't think he's getting any 8s, 9s, or 10s, on that. I think he has his pick of 7s. I don't think Gio's stock is necessarily as bad as it could be right now. It's not like he's playing for Dortmund and playing poorly. He's just not featuring. So I think the Nottingham Forest thing, definitely a miss. I think that comes down a lot also to the agent made a move that was not a good move for him. I think he has one move. I think he has one window to make a good move whilst his stock is not in the dumpster like a tariff was put against it.
Well, it's about his age. Like I hate to overstate it, but he is now 24 years old, 22. He's only 22. When is his birthday? He'll turn 23 in November. So he's 22. His window for he still has potential and growth left. Like if we're talking stocks here, I know it's a great time to talk about stocks, Jared. I don't know if you're in the stock market.
I hear it's a great time to buy.
It's a great time to be in stocks right now. I mean, well, it might be a good time to buy, depending on how much you believe things are going to go back to normal one day. But if it is that, right? Like you could convince yourself that Gio Reyna is a growth stock, that he has enough potential left, that his ceiling is so far above where he is now, that if you buy in on him now, you have an opportunity to really have it pay off down the road. If he was 24, 25, I'm not sure that that's the argument anymore. If he's 24, 25, you kind of go, well, we don't really see room for growth here, right? He's kind of topping out where he's at. So I don't know. I mean, it is, you're right. Maybe this is the moment. Well, but I still don't understand who's going to take the chance. He's got a contract, so you're going to have to buy him.
Listen, here's the thing. I think you're underselling his value because it's not just about what he can do on the field. Look at the amount of jerseys that Milan has sold with Christian Pulisic going there. There's an element to having a U.S. star going into a World Cup in the U.S. where he is likely to feature. I mean, then again, I don't know what happened in the last couple of games when Pochettino chose not to feature him. But if he is going to feature, there are other things outside of just talent on the field that make this a very good time for him to move. 1 year out from the World Cup, a player that has pedigree, someone that you could probably buy low on value currently.
Well, look at that right there. Transfer market's got him at 10 million euros. And we're talking about a player that, 3 years ago, when he sort of started to show up for Dortmund and get on the field and play in the Champions League and those kind of things, you're probably talking 50 at least if you want to buy him then. So this is, if Dortmund's willing to basically not take a loss on him because they didn't pay
everything's weird about this. Dortmund is a classic team that sells high and sells quickly. With Gio Reyna, they held on 2 years past what they probably should have. This is outside their normal track record. Everything about Gio Reyna is odd, but I still think that for some team in Spain, Italy, this is a good buy low option for a player that is at least technically sound for those leagues.
Yeah. Okay, so I think a couple things here. If you take a snapshot of where the world's money is right now, where the European money is, there are very few clubs, and I'm talking very few, in either Spain or Italy who are going to drop 10 million euros on a player they're not sure is going to show up for them in a big way. Like, that's not an investment outside of like, again, 3 clubs maybe in Italy and 3 or 4 clubs maybe in Spain. Yeah. They're just not going to spend that money. 10 million is still
clubs that we're talking about. I truly think those are the clubs we were talking about. I think Inter Milan is looking at the amount of eyeballs that go on Juventus with Weah and McKennie there, that go to AC Milan with Pulisic and Musa there, plus jersey sales. I think an Inter Milan takes a flyer on a Gio Reyna. I think Napoli takes a flyer on Gio Reyna.
I don't know if he wants to. He's not going to fit Antonio Conte's style, so I'm not sure that that's the right one. But Inter Milan is interesting, and he has sort of very tenuously been linked to Inter Milan recently, and it mostly was framed as they want to sell some shirts and have an American, which I don't love that, right? Now, at this point, maybe beggars can't be choosers, and you don't care where he goes as long as he gets in front of a new manager who can give him a chance. Now, the other side of this is obviously Gio. And look, I do think it's possible, and I've not heard things directly from people at Dortmund or whatever, but I've heard chatter within U.S. soccer circles that Gio is not. It's not that they don't like him there at this point. It's not like that he's persona non grata or he's some sort of malcontent. But I do think there's an argument that multiple managers have seen Gio in training every day and gone, yeah, you're not my guy. Julian Brandt has not been playing good enough that he should have been starting every single week for Dortmund when they're in a bad run.
Pochettino's done the same thing at the U.S. national team level. But what I will say, again, to go back to the Inter Milan, think of the profile of Gio Reyna when you think of Mkhitaryan.
Okay.
Very similar profile. Mkhitaryan's 36 right now.
Oh no, Inter Milan is aging quickly. They're going to be they might be in a Champions League final with that aging group.
A $10 million flyer on a name that is going to give you a lot of eyeballs ahead of the World Cup that maybe could just needs a change of scenery that could do similar things to what Mkhitaryan does in that team. I see the reasoning. I can see the logic in it. For a club the size of Inter Milan that can spend $2 million, it's probably still be okay, in the end.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I don't have a sense on where he's going exactly. If this is true, that he has been told, go find a club. Look, he was told to go find a loan deal, and it didn't obviously work out. And
I feel the agent was putting things that were good for the agent together. Not
Jorge Mendes.
Every person near that said, stay away from the EPL. Every person there said, stay away from the EPL for a loan deal. At that point, for Nottingham Forest, who had to win to stay up, they're not in a take a chance kind of mode. They're in a panic mode of just making things work and trying to stay 0-0 in games if they can, 1-1 in games when they can.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Gio Reyna needs a new place to play, and hopefully he finds one. And maybe this is not something we have to talk about going into 2026 in the World Cup. Maybe there's a place for him to do something. All right, moving on. This is a potential big move for Major League Soccer. Kevin De Bruyne out of contract with City at the end of the year. It's already been announced he's going to leave. He's 33 years old, and he's got miles on those tires. Let's point that out first.
That's an old 33, dude. When I just said Mkhitaryan's 36, when you look at Mkhitaryan, when you look at Kevin De Bruyne, which one feels older to you?
Well, injuries are part of that, right? The number of games that De Bruyne has missed recently. Now, this is the story from The Athletic, Paul Tenorio and Pablo Bauer, writing after we had already heard that Chicago was in for Kevin De Bruyne, and that hit kind of the wire in the MLS circles. Now, these two guys at The Athletic are reporting that Inter Miami, which also was a thing because we heard that they had his discovery rights, and people went kind of crazy about the idea of Inter Miami adding Kevin De Bruyne maybe on a TAM deal, and that was unfair and all those things. Jared, I don't know how you felt about it.
How do they have all that money and my team has nothing? How do they have all that money and my team has nothing?
They collected all that sweet TAM or GAM. Sorry, GAM. They started grabbing all that GAM.
The De Bruyne rumors originally were around San Diego, if I'm not mistaken, correct? That was the
initially, yes. Initially, yes. And then Tom Bogert came out and said, actually, no, San Diego's moved on. They don't want to bring in De Bruyne. Shifted to Miami. Now it shifted to Chicago. And now here is a foursome of teams.
Is there any fee he's free? He's gonna be his contract's up, right?
That's correct. He is on a free. There's no fee needed to be paid.
So I'm gonna do a pick your poison here. Not to go down the same line over and over again, but I kind of want to do a pick your poison here. if you are NYCFC, Chicago, or DC, let's leave Miami out of it for a second, because there's such a outlier in terms of talent and what they have there. But for the other three teams, let's say, what do you think the salary cap hit would be on De Bruyne to bring him in?
Well, okay. So again, when we were talking about Miami, there was this idea that he might take a TAM deal this year on the promise of a DP deal next year.
Okay,
you're talking about in a world where he gets paid what he's worth in MLS.
no, not what it's worth, but let's say that the cap hit is somewhere. It has to be under $1 million, right, or under 750,000, not to be a DP.
Oh, you're talking about no. Well, you can have him on a TAM deal for something like 1.75, I think.
Okay, let's say 1.75 is the number. Okay, for Chicago, NYCFC, and DC, and he's 33 years old. Do you take $1.75 million and you do De Bruyne, or just to continue because it's the name I've already used tonight, or do you take a 36-year-old Mkhitaryan for your team? I'm taking Mkhitaryan all day long.
I think you're insane for that. I think you're okay. I guess again, this is the gap between sort of consistent performance for a player like Mkhitaryan, who's 3 years older, versus the promise of what De Bruyne can be.
He's currently playing at the top level of Serie A for a team that is a title contender, a Champions League contender. De Bruyne can't stay healthy. He's definitely skilled, but I feel there's less risk because. And also, Mkhitaryan fits the mold of what's worked in MLS. That's a healthy 36-year-old that has pedigree.
You're making a pragmatic argument in a league that does not always trend that way, because when clubs, you just made the argument that maybe Inter Milan should sign Gio Reyna because they might sell some shirts. And MLS clubs are not looking at a player that they're going to put in their midfield and go, who's the best fit and who seems to be in the right. They're going, Kevin De Bruyne is a name people know in soccer circles. He's not world famous, but he's certainly famous in soccer circles. And maybe we can sell some tickets against Kevin De Bruyne, or we can sell some shirts with Kevin De Bruyne on the back. That's not the case with Mkhitaryan.
Of the teams listed here, for me, I'd like to see if there's going to go to one team. NYCFC makes sense. It's the sister club of Manchester City. There's so much marketing tie-in that can be done there, friendlies, all this kind of stuff. That makes sense to me. But for me, the team that most capitalizes on a potential Kevin De Bruyne signing, DC United, with Benteke up top, and what he's done with the limited service he's had so far. Can you imagine if he gets a 80%?
No, I get it. I get it. Okay. So the team that needs him most out of this group is DC United. They're the team that needs him most. I do think, again, that's a huge risk for that club, but they might be more desperate than anybody else on this list. And that's funny to say that because Chicago hasn't made the playoffs in like 9 years or whatever it is. The Fire will be number 2 on that list for me. I don't think NYCFC is in a great place right now, but I do not want to see Kevin De Bruyne playing on a baseball field. And until they get their stadium built, and he'll be too old at that point, I don't want to see him playing on a shortstop. I just don't want
I think people don't remember what it looked like when David Villa and Pirlo and Lampard were playing in that surrounding, how Mickey Mouse it felt to see those jewels set into a ring of pewter, you know?
Yeah, well, and you had David Villa played well and scored goals and was.
It still felt weird though.
No, but what I'm saying is the guy who played at the top of the formation. I don't know, David Villa, the prototypical false nine and all those things. But the guy who played at the top of the formation found a way to be effective in Major League Soccer despite the narrow confines and all of that. Meanwhile, the two guys who played in midfield and were supposed to be picking passes and making things happen really Lampard wasn't as bad as people think he was. There's a little bit of a misremembering happening, but certainly Pirlo wasn't good. And you don't want Kevin De Bruyne to kind of disappear as a good player because he's been stuck.
It's not good for the league.
No, I don't think so.
You want something where he can shine, and I think DC is that destination if they can make it happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's an obvious place. I don't think any of these are great fits.
I'll take him in LA.
I mean, of course you would.
Hell, I take
those places are great.
I take a monkey with 2 left feet right now, you know, like to play out here. Like I don't know, it's rough, but
it is rough.
Ricky Puig is out there signing autographs this weekend, so that's something.
I just think one of the things that is a factor here, and I think every club is going to be taking a hard look at this. And again, it's about your desperation level. And we're talking about who's most desperate. Inter Miami, not desperate at all. If they can add Kevin De Bruyne on a TAM contract, hey, whatever. Yeah, come over and
Chicago's
play,
performing
Kevin.
above expectations right now without this.
NYCFC is reforming themselves under new management and all that, but I still think they have some hope of doing something. DC United is a trash fire, and they need him most, and they might even get themselves to believe we'll pay him big DP money on the off chance that he gives us 60% of games, like 60% of being available. I'm not even talking about his level and how much he contributes. I think that at this point, with the miles on his legs, with the number of injuries he's had recently, with all the things that come with playing in Major League Soccer, and I don't just mean like it's hard to play in MLS. I mean, what does Kevin De Bruyne come in and 100% hit the ground running right away? Like, I think the only club that might feel desperate enough to overpay for a player who could very easily flame out for reasons that might be beyond his control is DC United.
So this from Nate in the chat says there's a huge risk of bringing aging in stars. So many of them flame out spectacularly. Mateus, Lothar Mateus was the worst of all of them, according to him.
That's 100 years ago.
That's an interesting conversation, though. Like, who is your top 3 biggest flameouts, or what's the Mount Rushmore of DP flameouts? And is Lothar Mateus even on the list for you? It is a long time ago, but he wasn't a DP, but remember, he came in as pre-DP era.
It was pre-DP. He was,
but it is probably one of the biggest name to come at that time. I mean, you can talk about the Nielsen, but again, that's a long time ago. People don't know. I don't think he was quite the star of some of the other names that we'll talk about. But in terms of expectation, I think Nielsen is one of the biggest flameouts.
Nielsen was an absolute disaster. That was FC Dallas, right?
Yeah. Does he go on your Mount Rushmore, though?
Yeah, I think he has to. I mean, I think it makes you, it shows
what
kind of
DP,
MLS.
Right? That was like 08 or something like that. It was one year after Beckham, I think.
Early era DP, I think, is what we were talking about.
Early era DPs are Beckham, Danielson, Juan Pablo Angel, which would not be on this list. Juan Pablo Angel, very good DP. I think the other ones to talk about here, I think Nate mentioned in there for me, Gerard, as a person who had to watch it. Very, very bad. Yeah. Pirlo maybe is on that list.
Pirlo's probably up there. On that list. Like, some of these guys may have not been as bad as others, but if they're more famous and they're bigger names, that means the expectations were bigger. So if they didn't meet those they didn't even get close. Like, Pirlo didn't get close to who he was in terms of reputation. Meanwhile, you've got players like, I'm looking at a list here, Nery Castillo. He had a moment with Mexico, but no one thought
his name recognition is not up there, you know. So when you see Pirlo, you think of beautiful split balls and over the top, dropping balls in behind lines. And for me, Pirlo's on this list, you know, and I don't want him to be, but I would put Pirlo on that list. Giroud is going that direction.
Yeah, he is, which is sad.
But I don't think Giroud's name is ever as high as Pirlo's in world football, or like
no, but he is he's not in the same pantheon as Pirlo in terms of respect. But I think people think of Olivier Giroud as very good. I mean, he comes in like, you go 10 down the list in his generation before you get to Giroud, and yet he's France's all-time leading goal scorer.
Yeah,
right.
But you would still put Benzema above him, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Isn't that a funny thing to say? I mean, Thierry Henry, you put above him, like, it's right. So for me, I'm going Danielson, Gerard, Pirlo, and part of me wants to do Gio dos Santos, but his name's not big enough.
You want an interesting name? I don't. This is pre DP era. I believe this is pre DP. Claudio Reyna.
Oh yeah, but he's not on the name recognitions level of all those other guys,
but he's on a flame out. Didn't do much when he came.
Yeah, I think he got injured when he came too, right?
That was the story. Yeah.
So I need a fourth for mine, man. But did I put Bernadeschi on there? It's such a bad flame out, but this name's not. It's such a bad flame out.
It's Insigne. It's not Bernadeschi.
Insigne. I apologize. I picked the wrong Italian.
Get your Italian straight. What, all Italians look the same to you? Is that what you're saying?
Is it bad to put 2 Italians on this list?
No, I don't think that's bad. We've had good Italians. Jovinko is the opposite of that.
Is that the fourth one? Or is there someone else I'm missing?
I mean, again,
I don't think Drogba's on that list.
Drogba's not on that list. Drogba came in the league and took the league by storm.
If Bale hadn't scored the goal to win it for LAFC, I think he's on the list potentially.
Probably. You want a name that's not name recognition does not rate, and Rafa Marquez is getting mentioned here, and I think that's worth it just because of the way it ended for him in New York and that
he did what he was supposed to do. He played good defense. It's not like shitty person,
but he was a pendejo the whole time. He was just the worst. Luis Angel Landin. Do you remember him in Houston?
Yeah.
I mean, no name recognition, lower level. Houston was doing that thing where they were trying to like thread the needle on kind of like they're not massive names, but they've got Mexican, pedigree.
If you're listening or watching this afterwards, leave us a comment down below. Let us know or send us a message on the side. But for me, I'm going with Danielson, Pirlo, Gerard, and Insigne.
All right. I think that again, the gap between what they were supposed to do and what they actually did, rather than just their like, again, you could have a DP, but he was probably like, there were a couple of DC United would throw in there that would like just be barely DPs back when it was like $650,000.
Another time we should do the Mount Rushmore of best DPs as well, but we can do that another time.
Best DPs. Sure. We can absolutely do
because there's a lot of things you can use to justify what makes someone best.
Let's move on to yet another topic that has come to the fore because we heard the rumors, right? So Club Leon got kicked out of the Club World Cup because they had shared ownership with Pachuca, and FIFA came down and said that's not allowed for some reason we just made up. No, they do have rules against it, but it does feel a little bit arbitrary when there are other clubs that seem to skate through. Whatever, they're not happy about it. They're deciding to go to the Court of Arbitration for Sport and looking to get their appeal heard. This is Club Leon, and that I think is supposed to come in the next couple of weeks. Now, before sort of this round of touring that Gianni Infantino's been on in America to pitch the Club World Cup, we had heard there might be an LAFC versus Club América match to determine who was going to take Club Leon's spot.
Based on what, though? Based on what?
So this is in Spanish. This is the original. I'd seen the quote in English on ESPN, but I wanted to kind of go to the original. This is Gianni Infantino when he was doing a tour speaking to Spanish media, and he said that if FIFA wins the case, basically, then possibly there will be a game, jugar un partido, playoff against the team that was in the final of the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and that's LAFC, and the team with like the second best ranking, and I guess that's Club América. It seems arbitrary. It's not completely arbitrary, but it's arbitrary to the point that FIFA gets to put.
In the meantime, you got this dude over here is like, my team just won the MLS Cup in the most recent season in my region. Granted, my team should not be there in terms of performance, but I mean, in terms of who deserves to be there based off of merit, how can you say the Galaxy shouldn't be getting this spot?
Well, again, it's FIFA's tournament, it's FIFA's rules. I'm not saying that you don't have a claim. You do. Obviously, Inter Miami got in because FIFA suddenly decided that the points title in MLS mattered. Because Lionel Messi plays for Inter Miami, and there you go. There's your thing.
Is that evidence that the Supporter Shield is the true championship in MLS?
People immediately went to that place as soon as it came out that FIFA was valuing the Supporter Shield in order to determine who was in the Club World Cup. And, I don't think this is helping this perception among sort of the hardcore soccer fans. This whole thing is made up. The whole thing, I mean, it obviously is made up in the sense that we've never played this kind of Club World Cup before, but that it doesn't have legitimacy, right? That this thing is a joke from start to finish. I've seen people get excited about this. Like, I really have seen people think that, hey, this is unique and interesting. And yes, you'll have Chelsea and Real Madrid. And by the way, the group of European clubs is kind of worth the price of admission if you care about that. Chelsea, Real Madrid, Manchester City, Bayern Munich, PSG. By the way, one of those teams knocked out of the Champions League today, reigning champion of that competition. Another one, PSG, has made a semifinal where they'll play Arsenal. You also have Porto, Benfica, massive Portuguese clubs. Inter Milan also made a semifinal of the Champions League this season. Dortmund knocked out of the Champions League and going through some things, but still a big name. Juventus, obviously, with a couple of American players. Atletico Madrid, that's great. I mean, I'm a fan. Red Bull Salzburg gets in. And then again, look, you get to throw in the South American teams. Palmeiras, Flamengo, Fluminense, Botafogo, River Plate, Boca Juniors. Both of those teams, ancient rivals in Argentina, up against one another.
And nobody cares.
Well, no, that's the thing. I don't, maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Yeah, maybe they don't. I do think that I could understand a new soccer fan or soccer fans whose interest is largely Champions League, European soccer. I could understand them being excited about this. It's not for me. And I think part of it,
I don't think to buy a ticket.
well, part of this is that it's also like we're asking the players to do so much. And maybe it's because I cover the game on a regular basis. I'm not just kind of dipping my toes in soccer waters every now and then. I always come back to this, man, and Kevin De Bruyne is a perfect example of this. He's been complaining about the number of games that they're asked to play for years now. And they're like, hey, this is enough, Rodri. And now they're like, hey, here's a whole nother tournament. And guess what? All of those rules about international windows in the summer, they're out. So now Juventus can hold on to Weston McKennie and Tim Weah, which means they're not eligible to play in the Gold Cup. And whatever you want to say about the Gold Cup, the United States needs that tournament to get ready for World Cup next year. And it's our Confederation's top tournament.
The reason we need it is because same reason you need mouthwash after you vomit into a toilet. You need something to get rid of the damn taste in your mouth, which is what the Nations League did to us. Literally, we need the Gold Cup to be the scope in the cup.
And that's a selfish reason not to like this thing from a U.S. men's national team perspective. Yeah, I mean, I will say that if FIFA gets their way, right? And again, you could be very cynical and say, well, why these two teams? Like whatever their justification, why these two teams? Well, how about the biggest team in Mexico that will draw fans anywhere on this continent and a team from one of the biggest cities that has their own
How do we
flag?
know, though? How do we know that Infantino didn't do the same thing every media outlet does when they mean Galaxy, but they say LAFC?
Don't you wish? Don't you just wish that was the case? That would be so nice. I do think there's the justification for the Galaxy is there if you say the MLS champion, right? But of course, they're supposed to be a representative of the region of CONCACAF. It's not like everybody's broken out by what region they come from, but what confederation they come from, not by like, oh, we have this league represented this way and we have that other league represented that way.
Yeah, but when you look at like the Champions League, in which feeds into this, like they take the top teams from every country, not the top teams from the region. They take the top teams from every league.
I understand, but but again, I'm looking at the teams that
feels Mickey Mouse to have the Club World Cup, and it takes the best teams from every I don't know. I guess it's not every federation. It's obviously not every country, every league. It's every federation. To your point, we're not taking the best team from Jamaica. No,
exactly. It's CONCACAF is represented by 4 teams. And those 4 teams are all, except for, 5 teams because of Inter Miami. I forgot about them. And again, thrown in because there was always going to be a host slot. So there was always just like every other tournament, right? The World Cup is held in whatever country, and we're going to be host next year. We don't have to qualify. And I don't know if FIFA's anywhere close to changing that rule. You just kind of you're in if you're the host. And so when we talk about this tournament, there was always going to be a host team. But I think that again, they could have chosen the MLS Cup champion, but they didn't. They chose the Supporters Shield champion because Lionel Messi plays for them, and they'd rather have Lionel Messi and Inter Miami in than the Galaxy, no matter what fame the Galaxy have outside of the United States. It's better for them.
So let me ask you a question. Is this the watershed moment, the Club World Cup, and thus the World Cup afterwards, but the Club World Cup mainly? Is this the watershed moment where we find where American soccer just can't pay to watch anything more?
You mean this
like,
is
it's a well that's been tapped so many times.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the tournament that's going to force investors to think that this might not be the default host of everything.
I hate to do this, and people are going to be made uncomfortable, probably because nobody wants to imagine this all impacting. But we're talking about a World Cup next year that could be impacted by some travel things that are going on in our country. Yeah. All right. So I would say that if this is a breaking point, it's not just because we've had so much soccer and we're saturated, although I think that's possible, but also a combination of that with other things that are happening right now with our country and our government and economy and things like
Is El
that.
Salvador
Right?
going to be in the World Cup?
El Salvador, they could qualify. Why?
They could. I mean,
Oh.
I'm just saying it's interesting.
Why?
Well, they'd be
You think
allowed
they
in. They'll be
should have
allowed
the-
in. Their whole team will have shaved heads.
No, that's not how that works.
Oh, my bad.
That's not how that works at all. Anyway, look, going back to this. All right, so you've already lodged your complaints, and lots of people have said this doesn't feel right. Here's Chris K making the case for the Columbus Crew. They have a Campeones Cup. They have 2 MLS Cups. They have a League Cup since 2020.
Wilfred
the most
Nancy
successful
is
MLS
sexy
team
as hell.
in the 2020s. Should they be in the Club World Cup? Right?
They
Again,
just fleeced the Union.
FIFA has decided. I don't think so. FIFA has
don't think so?
decided. No, I think he'll be good there, but I don't think the Union did bad in that deal. I think that's one of those we both made out kind of situations here. But what I was going to say is, if we push aside all these concerns about why they're qualified for this, LAFC versus Club América, one game to determine who gets into this tournament that has Chelsea and Manchester City and PSG and Bayern Munich and Boca Juniors and River Plate and all these teams, Pachuca, Monterrey. Don't you think that's the biggest one-off game between an MLS team and a Liga MX team that's ever been played?
Yeah, I think that's that. It depends how much. It depends how much you value the Club World Cup. So my initial answer was yes. Just thinking yes.
Okay, but think about it this way: is it bigger than a Leagues Cup final? Yes.
Yes, because
I would argue yes.
Afterwards, there's nothing after the Leagues Cup. Yeah.
No, you get a trophy for winning the Leagues Cup, but it's only between Mexican clubs and MLS clubs. And Mexican clubs win, and they go, whatever. We beat MLS teams all the time.
The value of being able to get embarrassed by the best teams in the world is high.
But that's the thing. Everybody wants to be in that club. You want to be in the club that's got Real Madrid in it, especially if you're Club América. But definitely if you're LAFC. I mean, LAFC was doing like they were fainting in that direction. Like, wasn't LAFC one of those clubs that's like, we have a partnership? We have a partnership with Real Madrid. I don't ever call that. I mean, it never really amounts to anything. But it's always that thing of like, oh, we have partnerships around the world, and our reach. Yeah, and this is true. LAFC, Club América, SoFi. Don't play it there. The field's too small. But that game sold out. Absolutely 100. Not, and obviously it's 80%, 90% Club América fans, but it would be massive, and I would watch it.
It's hard for people elsewhere in the country to realize how big America and Chivas are in Southern California. Outside the Dodgers and the Lakers, it's probably the most often seen bumper stickers on cars out here. You know, it's insane. It's really, really big. And I think now what price are they going to put on that ticket for a one-off game? I don't know. Like I said, I'm shocked every time these tournaments and events sell out based off of inflation and where their pocketbooks are getting hit, that the US has so much disposable income at the level of people who are interested in these games. It's shocking to me that we continue to sell things out. I think this competition is going to be the first thing that's going to potentially not come up short. It's going to come up short.
It's possible. It's possible.
If you want to do the World Cup next year, it's an either or for most families.
So sure. There is a question of whether or not there's a limited market and FIFA is squeezing too hard.
Maybe I'm undervaluing the travel support of these teams who want to vacation in the US in the summer, you know, and support their team.
Do I have to again reference real world events and point out that travel to the United States from abroad is cratering right now? Like, that's a legitimately proven fact that the number of people traveling to the United States willingly has dropped through the floor.
Yeah.
Maybe if you want to follow Real Madrid or PSG or Inter Milan, or you're coming from Argentina and you're following River Plate, Boca Juniors, you'll be like, whatever, I don't care about what's happening in the country politically. But man, I think that is going to have an impact. And, you know, I think this is part of Johnny's charm offensive and why he was in the Oval Office giving President Trump the Club World Cup trophy, which is apparently still being displayed on Trump's desk or so, like right there on like a little table. I don't even know what's going on there. Like, I was just sitting there like doing the spinny thing. And Trump
listen, if there's anything you know about Trump, if it's gold, he wants it around him.
Yeah,
he probably thinks it's a urinal.
I saw this. This is an aside. I saw that he does these meetings in front of the fireplace. He's got the President El Salvador there, and they're chatting. And there's these like gold like design things on the wall, and somebody determined that these are like things you can get on Alibaba, and they've been spray painted or something.
Well, the
And
worst
they're
part
just
is they started the fire in the fireplace with the Constitution.
okay, all right, there you go. All right, well, no, I'll give you that one.
Great
okay.
Tinder.
Damn, dog.
I'll give you
That's
that
an
one.
approach.
All right, with it's a couple minutes left. All right, okay. First of all, on the Club World Cup, since that came up, we have not really talked about this ticket package thing. I don't think, but there's also a new ticket package available in American soccer that you wanted to bring up and talk about, and the wisdom of. First of all, the Club World Cup, FIFA is offering a 20 ticket package, right? But you have it's like all over the place. It's not in one city. You have to go to every game. The upshot is you get access to a World Cup ticket if you buy this Club World Cup package. It doesn't feel like it's worth it to me because you don't get to pick the World Cup game based on what I'm understanding from Henry Bushnell at Yahoo Sports. But there's another package out there with an incentive at the end of it if you buy multiple games. What's that, Jared?
So this is all coming from the Slack that I read today, but I believe it was they quoted a tweet from Fishkin on this, I want to say, but that the New York Red Bulls are putting out a package for a 5-game package. You buy a 5-game small bundle, and if the New York Red Bulls win all 5 games, you get a free ticket to the Miami game. So interesting. I think there's pros and cons here because it definitely. My initial response to it was like, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. I think there's a few things when I think it out a little bit further. My understanding is, and from what feedback I've seen from people, and I think our boy Kyle may have said this in the Slack. I apologize if I'm misquoting him. I don't believe this was made available to all season ticket members though. So I'm worried. I think there's a worry that it's maybe a great way of bringing in new fans, but at the risk of if your season ticket holders are having to pay for the Miami game, I mean, it's in their season ticket package, but they paid for it. I think it's maybe a little tone deaf that the people you count on most, your most regular supporters, aren't getting the same deal.
Yeah, I mean, this is the way of the world, right? Like new customers are always valued more than your existing customers, and they always get the perks. I mean, this is not even remotely in the same neighborhood, but last year my wife's like, we need to cut all these streaming packages. We got too many streaming packages. I'm like, I use them all for work, but okay, let's take a look. I'm like, oh, Paramount and Hulu and all this stuff. And then I see these deals, like Black Friday deals, get Paramount Plus for $1 for a year, $1 a month for a year or something or whatever. And I'm like, oh, this is going to save me money. And I can go back to my wife and I can say, we don't have to cut any streaming packages. Look at all the money I save. Mm-hmm. But you can't get them if you're an existing subscriber. You can only get them if you're a new subscriber. And I'm like, wait a second. What? No,
I want to see Messi too.
No. But the other part is that five games, 5 wins.
Yeah, and I think Red Bulls, are they undefeated at home right now? I want to say that they are.
I mean, I guess you're talking home games. You are talking about a higher likelihood of putting together a 5-game run. Mm-hmm. But that's still dicey. It's still
but it is nice to see a team willing to bet on themselves.
But that's not exactly what they're doing. What they're doing is saying we will give you a very valuable ticket if we can do this thing that the odds are very long on. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if you say if we win these 5 buy this package, if we win these 5 home games,
no one expects the person to make the half-court shot.
That's what I'm saying. Like if this is a 5-game parlay, like you're mm-hmm. betting on a 5-game parlay, and if you hit your 5-game parlay, you get a free ticket to see Inter Miami and potentially an Messi. And by the way, I don't know if it's transferable, but obviously if you sold that ticket, you can make all your money back on the 5-game package if you wanted to. And I'm sure that there will be people.
Oh, and that's the other thing. You have to have attended all 5 of these games.
That's right.
I'm not sure how they do that part. Maybe I guess the ticket has to be scanned at the door.
And that's one of those things that they're doing for the FIFA World Cup package as well. Like you have to be in attendance. You can't buy the tickets and no show them. And obviously that's the
But
issue
who's
for
to say
FIFA.
you can't scalp them to someone else and they scan them and you get credit for it?
Yeah, there was something about transferability. And nowadays they can tie your ticket to you, to your name.
Like
I bought
blood?
baseball tickets for me and the fam and my in-laws are coming to town. Next week we're going to do a baseball game. And you get it sent to your phone and then you have to if you transfer it, you have to transfer it to somebody else's phone. And it's just yeah, I mean, people who go to games know that
all
this
Puerto
is
Ricans want to watch baseball. Come on, don't live into a stereotype, Jason. Please.
Mi suegro, sí. My father-in-law is a baseball fan. I'm not taking him to a soccer game. He wouldn't know what's happening at a soccer game, unfortunately. So I'm going to take him to he's going to watch my 4-year-old. He and my mother-in-law are going to watch a 4-year-old and also make sure a 16-year-old doesn't kill himself while I go to Napa and drink wine. So he can get a baseball game.
By the way,
he can get a
you
baseball
haven't sent
game.
me your itinerary yet.
I don't want to be judged. I really don't. I'm feeling weird about it. I don't want No, because Alec asked me about it too. And I was like, our guy Alec in the Besties Slack is an incredible, he knows everything about everything when it comes to Northern California wine country and all this stuff. He is
the guru.
So I asked him, he hooked me up with a tasting, as did oh my gosh, I probably said it on the Daily Davis, and now I'm gonna blank on who else hooked me up with the tasting, and I'm gonna feel terrible about it. I will find Jonathan. Jonathan hooked me up with a tasting as well. Not in Napa, slightly farther west.
Yeah, I don't have any clubs in Napa. It's just overpriced. I can't do it.
I know. We're
gonna do it. There's good wine up there. I'm not saying it's not good wine. It's just so expensive.
We're gonna do it one time, and then we'll go back and we'll do Sonoma or whatever. Right? Yeah. There's gonna be a thing. All right. So anyway, I'm headed out. I can do
French laundry for dinner.
No, we're not. No. We are doing it. We are doing it comfortable middle class. I don't think I'm middle class.
Why would we have a Napa FC, man? That's what I need. That's an away game I would go to.
There is a Napa Valley team. They play in the UPSLA or NPSL.
This billboard is for sale. Send me some merch. I'll swirl the glass on air. I want some Napa FC gear. What level are they playing in?
Napa Valley 1839 is what they are called, Jared. And they are playing in the let's see, they play in the League for Clubs. Excuse me, they play in the League for Clubs.
What's that?
Which is the new league launched by the guy behind Kingston Stockade.
It's like the evil League of Evil and from Dr. Horrible. I don't understand what this is.
It's a league meant to help lower level high level amateur teams that want to grow but can't pay franchise fees to be USL. And these are summer league teams. And here's
is that the crest right there?
This is the crest right here. That's the crest. Yeah. It's a wine bottle. There's no wine bottle. It's a wine bottle. I was hoping to make a visit, but they're not playing at home while I'm out there. So I can't even. I was gonna tell my wife we can go, and then this whole trip is work. And then
what's their players? They call their players the Vinters or something. What's
I don't know if they're doing all that. I don't know if they're doing all that.
I'm gonna go down the rabbit now, man.
I don't think they have a nickname yet.
There better be a winery. There better be a winery that's the shirt sponsor, though, right?
I did also see that Santa Clara is going to get a team, which
for women's or men's.
I think both. I think they're eyeing both up there in Northern California. Sure. And I know it's not wine country, but Modesto is also looking at a team. So California, I know. Don't. Again,
not a travel destination.
I just said it's not wine country.
Listen, modest is in their name.
Okay, no, it wasn't Santa Clara. My apologies. Santa Clara is down there in the South Bay. All right, that's where that is. Okay, let me make sure I get my Santa Rosa. Sorry, Santa Rosa is going to get a team. That's more wine country. So anyway,
that's going to be now we need Paso to have one. We'll have a Vinters Cup.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. What a rivalry group that would be.
I mean, there's already Barcelona youth extension teams in Temecula down here by me. They have a little academy down there. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think I'm gonna enjoy it. I was gonna pull up the itinerary. I was gonna pull up the itinerary and see if you.
Wait, are you driving to each? Are you renting a car?
We're renting a car. Yes.
Okay. Pro tip.
Yeah.
Share your tastings.
Don't go
2 tastings each. I mean, maybe the place that the homies hooked you up with, you'll probably have 2 tastings. Pick one place, do a dual tasting. Everywhere else share. There's no guilt that if you tell me you're a designated
No,
driver.
we've
guilt.
got some stuff built in to help with that. We should be okay,
Okay.
but we'll see. Let's see. We're gonna be a day in San Francisco, which also Alec hooked me up with a bunch of recommendations for that. So we'll see. And want to do Chinatown and the cliche stuff while we're in San Francisco, which I've never been to.
Disc golf course in Golden Gate Park if you're interested.
I will probably pass on the disc golf, but
Gotcha.
possible. Maybe we'll work it in. Maybe that's right before
you got a couple of discs at the house. At least I think
before the hike in Muir Woods. Muir Woods got a disc golf course. Like I know they're very famous for the trees. They got a disc golf course.
Possibly. There's a lot in Northern California though.
So I got hooked up with the tasting at Knightsbridge by Alec. That's in Calistoga.
My man enjoys his Pinots. So what is it? But that's a cab region, so I'll have to see.
Yeah, but so I will also point out, okay, and I know this is not the region for it necessarily. Again, try not to judge. My wife is not a red person. She doesn't do red wine, so it makes it a little bit tougher. We're going for the scenery. We're going for the experience. She wants to drink some sparkling stuff. I will try to drink red wine when I can. So she's going to get some stuff there. She's going to get some sparkling stuff. There's a place called Schramsberg we might try to get to. Napa does some sparkling.
Mum's up there, yeah.
Yeah, we got
those. The city is called Calistoga. They got sparkling stuff.
Okay, all right. There you go.
Calistoga spring water.
Yeah, makes sense. Now that you remind me, yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah. I got Shandon for a brunch.
Yes,
doing that.
Nice. Just to educate you on the Napa region is at the same latitude as the Bordeaux region, so a lot of the same grapes are grown there, and Chardonnay is plentiful in that area, and that's what they make champagne from.
Yeah. All right. So, and then Jonathan hooked us up with a tasting at Littori, I believe is how you might say that, which is farther west past Santa Rosa. So that's going to be a last stop. That's going to be on our way back. We're going to do that and then hang out and then go back to San Francisco before we fly home. And we may squeeze in some other things as well. We'll look at.
I might have a stop I'm not sure if you're going up towards that Healdsburg area, but if you want some white wine, check out Fray Carano. Not for the best wine, but the gardens there are gorgeous.
Okay, yeah. She wants to do a cave tour, so at least one of these spots might be.
Plenty of those in Napa.
We've been recommended Jarvis. Not cheap, but that's also from Alex, so we'll take a look at that one as well.
Shout out to the besties.
The besties, besties came in big. Besties were huge with this trip, so thank you very much. Steven says that's where the Finger Lakes come in for you, Jason. I'm not sure what he's referencing. Lots of white wine. We went to the Finger Lakes 2 years ago.
Always sounds dirty to me. I don't know.
It's awesome. Finger Lakes is amazing.
No, I mean the
waterfall. I understand what you're saying, but they look like fingers, so you can understand it. But there's like waterfalls everywhere. Lots of nice little towns, college, like liberal arts college towns, East Coast liberal arts college towns, like
Wesleyan.
Wesleyan's oh my god, I'm gonna blank out all the names of the famous colleges that are up there in the Finger Lakes. Somebody's gonna have to help you. Dartmouth is up in New Hampshire or something, right? Cornell. This is that we stayed in Ithaca. Cornell is in Ithaca. Ithaca is very cool. Yeah, that is
with Andy from The Office. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, Hobart. Yeah, Hobart's up there by Geneva. We also stayed.
That's not a real thing. I've never. That's a D&D name right there. Hobart.
Yes. No, it's a real place. Tyler Terrence played soccer there. Actually, guy I worked with on the radio today. Who also
Terrence Hobart. That's a D&D soccer name.
Yeah, Terrence Hobart. It's pretty good.
I like call a callback in the comedy sphere.
All right. Any other business before we leave? Did we?
I don't think so, man. Like we hit the Patreon. Hope everyone's over there. You're doing the Lord's work with the Daily Davis over there. I know people are finding value in that. So if you want soccer content that is from Mr. Davis, he's putting it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the best.
You really should be doing a Substack and making your own personal money off of that.
Okay, so things are a little bit spread. I have Morning Kick Around, which is the place I cheat on you with, which is the
one of many
show.
Places. It's like a brothel at your place, dude.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern on YouTube. Morning Kick Around. Kick Around is one word.
You should have a page. You need to start a Substack. Call it the Soccer Whore because you just cheat on me with everyone.
We just eclipsed 2,000 subscribers. We're building quickly, looking for partnerships and advertisers. Find me if you want to be interested or if you want to get involved with Morning Kick Around. That is a great little American soccer place for me. Then I don't have a Substack, mostly because Substack does things I don't like. So I have a ghost.io page. It's a newsletter, also a newsletter. Jason Davis Soccer Eagle is what I decided to call that. And soccer whore is that's not a name I considered. I considered soccer, not that one either. I mean, how about soccer liberated? How about that? How about liberated with my soccerality?
Gross.
Ew.
Gross.
Soccer Eagle, Jason Davis Soccer Eagle is a newsletter I'm doing. Not charging anybody for the newsletter right now. Not doing that. Maybe one day I will, but I also wanted to give the besties more value for their money. So that's why so many people have been supporting us for so long over on the besties Patreon, and I really wanted to deliver something extra for you guys. So, and every now and then, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get on this camera with a microphone, and I'm going to dial a phone number that I have in my phone. I believe it is a Southern California number, somewhere called the Inland Empire. And every now and then, every now and somebody might answer the phone, and we'll see what happens. I haven't done that to you yet. But
do it random, dude. Do it random. I'll tell you what. I might be in the shitter, but
this is hilarious. Sorry, that's pretty good. Shout out to Clayton. Shout out to Clayton. All right. Anything else? Yeah, Open Cup. Go watch it. Thank you for hanging out with us while the Open Cup has been happening. No?
That's it, guys. Glad to talk to you. Sorry I haven't been around as much.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Well, it's good to get you back, and you're here. And we'll talk to you guys hopefully very soon. Bye-bye. Have a great one.
Duh and or hello.
Get to the chopper! WNBC! WNBC!
Go to DEFCON 2.
I think I'm starting to like Cincinnati.
Damn, dog, that's in approach.
So feel respect for the Gegner. So feel respect for the Gegner.
It was there. Oh, here we go. Soften them up. Hit them. What?
Calm down, Greg. It's soccer. It's soccer.
Michael freaking Arasco Fistel.
What are we doing?
Jay Rodius.